Good afternoon or evening
Good
now,
afternoon. Good
listeners.
evening.
Yeah,
Yes.
welcome in to episode 16 of a New Era podcast. A little bit later today, but we're still getting it out on time. My name is Hanson, better known as Fryddy online, and I'm here today with my dad, the OG Frid. Dad, would you like to say hello to the listeners tonight?
Yes. Good evening, listeners. A little different. We're doing an evening edition. Got the Bruins coming up in a little bit. We're excited about that. Another exciting thing is instead of coffee, a little cocktail.
Yep, it's to that hour. He can talk sports with a whiskey in hand, and it just makes the conversation so much better, right? And the Zen, look at that.
Actually, it's not whiskey right now.
Those
I've
are
been doing a lot of gin lately.
so old, man. Gin is so bad. So bad.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so for today, we don't have any like crazy segments planned or anything. But playoffs started, so we got a lot to talk about with those two teams. We had a full week of the Red Sox, and we do have the NFL draft coming up on Thursday, so we'll get into that a little bit later.
I think that's enough for this one.
Yeah. I know. I was planning it out this morning. I was like, well, I mean, this is probably the only week all year that we will actually have something like important for all four of our sports teams at the same time. You think about it, like, because none of them overlap outside of that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if we were to make the World Series, maybe all four would overlap, but not. I don't know. This is like October.
I think October, but yet regular season, NHL's late, and NBA, late in October.
NBA's late too.
So we just need the Red Sox to make the playoffs.
Well, I mean, if you look at the Red Sox that we've been watching for the last 3 days, I mean, they can make the World Series. After a little bit of a shittier series with the Guardians that we had, where we didn't get swept. We won one. We're back to being the best fucking team in the league.
So I think we went in last week and said 4-3, and we hit it 4-3.
We did. Got saved by a sweep of the Pirates, but I said 3-4. You said 4-3, but yeah.
Okay. So I got
like
one for me.
Yeah. But did you see this also with the Red Sox winning Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? It created a Boston sports sweep this weekend. The Red Sox won all 3 games. The Celtics won on Saturday. The Bruins won on Saturday. They kicked that. It's just, it all meshes in because we just kicked ass all throughout the weekend. Like all 3 teams, every single game played. We kicked butt. There literally wasn't a single moment in any of the games this weekend that I was like, damn, we might actually lose. Which is good. Yeah. I thought it would have been with the Sox and the Pirates, because the Pirates always start off like this, and I thought the Pirates maybe were good, but they might not be, or we're just the greatest.
Oh, I was very impressed with the fact that we won 5-1 yesterday. I watched that on MLB.
6.
Thank you, Josh. 6. Or 6-1. Okay, I think I stopped it at 5-1 at that point, but thank you, Josh, for that. With the fact that we roll out the freaking weirdest starting 9 lineup. Got Pablo Reyes playing first base yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And they, I don't know if you were watching it, but they had that Cruz kid, the 6'7", the tallest shortstop in Major League Baseball history, with Pablo before game with a little, hey, how you doing? All kind of thing. Just the height differential was hysterical. But you had him there. You had Reese McGuire, coming in and then DHing. Bobby at third.
Let's not talk about
Duran
Bobby.
Duran was your
center.
second.
He was center.
Yeah,
he was center yesterday.
Right, but he was batting
second. Raphael was was leading off. And then you got Ref Snyder at third. I'm looking at it right now. Abreu fourth, Wong fifth, Dahlbeck sixth, Reyes seventh.
Yeah, Abreu being
eighth.
your cleanup hitter.
Yeah, and then Valdez ninth.
So right now, I mean, a lot of our guys are batting under the Mendoza line, the 200. It's our offense is carried by a few and home run ball.
Without Devers or O'Neill, keep in mind in this series too, which is big.
Mm-hmm. And now without Tristan Casas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just can't escape the injury bug. So
but
I was looking
pitching,
at stats. Yeah, that's still phenomenal. Cutter Crawford is leading the MLB with a .66 ERA through 5 starts.
That is awesome.
I'm looking at he's so good. I'm looking at something right now. It says the drastic change in pitch usage tells a story. 2023 he's throwing 39.2% of four-seam fastballs. He's cut that down to 29.4 this year. Cutter was at 28.2 last year. It's up to 29.4 this year. So throwing that in the fastball equal amounts. Knuckle curve, which he was throwing at about a 12% rate last year, is down to 5.5. You've got the splitter that was at 7.7 up to 8.6. The sweeper, which he only threw, which is that's his new pitch, and that's the one that I think Andrew Bailey was stressing a lot to all of the guys throughout spring training. All the guys threw it at a 6.7% rate, 6.7% last year, 26.5% this year, and his slider. Go ahead.
All you hear, I was going to say, all you hear from Kevin Youkilis on his color commentary with Crawford and Hulk and not really Whitlock, but definitely Crawford. You just hear him say all the time, there's that sweeper. There's the sweeper. Yep. What is the sweeper pitch?
I don't know, but it looks
slider.
I think it's kind of like it, but not really. But the slider, like I was mentioning, that was one that he threw at 6.7% last year. He hasn't even thrown. He's thrown 0.4% of sliders, so he's completely eliminated that from his arsenal essentially. And then that sweeper is just huge. But I guess it's just with him, and it's just one of those things that he's throwing that cutter and fastball at almost a 30% rate. So out of the 3 pitches that you need to get to every at bat potentially to strike him out, you're getting 2 fastballs with the fastball and the cutter. Cutter moves a little bit, and then you go down to a sweeper that you're seeing heat, boom, off speed. A pitch that was rarely used last year. A lot of these guys haven't really seen it, and it just throws you off. You get through. You're able to get through 2 times through the order on just those 3 alone, essentially.
Actually, he's throwing the sweeper probably 2 out of the 3 times that he's throwing.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, hypothetically there, but you throw the sweeper too, and it's like
he's throwing this, and then when he comes with that fourth seam fastball.
Jesus,
thank you. I've already had one.
Early?
I've already had one. Yeah.
Holy! I'm trying to see if I can find some movement. There's a wicked. No, here's the wicked 89-mile-an-hour cutter. The splitter. There's a guy called Pitching Ninja on Twitter that'll throw, or he just has videos of just absolutely nasty pitches and everything. And I don't think I can find. I haven't been able to find this sweeper, but I'll look out for it this week and hopefully find it so that we can look at it next week. But I mean,
Tanner Hulk. Tanner's 3-1 with a 1.35 ERA.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal too. I mean, and I've always liked how I thought. I mean, last year, he had his ups and downs, but I really thought that he was going to be a guy. And then I thought he was a guy that had great K9, a great K9 ceiling and floored, to be honest. I thought he had a lot of upside. And then he was the one that threw, on the 17th, 5 days ago, he threw the first complete game shutout of the year, 9 innings, 3 hits, 9 Ks, 0 walks. I mean, just for a... And hey, I'll give it to the Red Sox, hand up, because I was worried all offseason and all the fucking Bleacher Report and everything that was coming out about them was we're not making any moves with any pitchers. You go out, you get Lucas Giolito, and you lose them freaking before the year even starts. And it's like, shit, this starting 5 rotation that we thought was going to be so bad already just takes another hit. And then boom, they come out here, and this isn't a fluke anymore. This is 24 games into the season. These guys have had 4 to 5 starts each, with some spot starts in between. Like, these guys are good. And I will say it might depend. We might need to, continue to give it a little more time, get into the summer months when the summer heat and that sort of stuff comes into play. Because, you get a little more heat, the ball can go out of the yard a little better. It's going to be hot, tired pitchers, stuff like that. But I mean, so far they're handling themselves pretty well, and they're keeping us right in it. 3rd in the AL East, 2 games back of the O's. The one thing that really, jumps off the page when you look at these standings, 3-7 at Fenway to start the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
After starting, do you think, I was just thinking about this earlier, do you think it has more to do with the fact that, we just need to get our feet under us there back in Fenway? Or do you think partially the fact that we did start off, yes, on an away trip, but on a West Coast away trip, do you think that really fucks with the team coming back home then on an extended home stand like we have?
I mean, we really have been out on the road. I mean, yes, 3-7, that's 10 games. We played 23, but mainly we've been on the road. Obviously,
I mean, we're on the road now,
but
I forgot about that too.
And then we're going, and then starting back Cleveland tomorrow, but
back home on Friday.
I don't know. I think what it is more that 3-7 is obviously the ballpark in itself, Green Monster, and offensively we're doing shit. I mean, how many guys? I just got the pictures up here.
What are you looking at? Just like our guys that are playing, but uninjured.
I mean, batting wise, average, you got 1, 2, 3
above 300,
4, 5, 6, 7 guys under 200, batting under 200.
Yeah. Oh my God, that Bobby, 0.033, man, he's got to go, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just looking at it here from the player stats. You look, I'm just looking through games played. Going down this list, and the guys that aren't injured now, Durant's still there, 281. He's played 23. Rafael has played 23, hitting 162. Cassis is injured, even though he's played 22. Valdez, 20 games, 159. Is Yoshida hurt? Why didn't he play?
He must be, or they gave him. I can't see them giving him day off with the lineup that they put out. He should have been somewhere, at least in DH, and they started with Tyler Henneman and finished up with Reese McGuire. So he must be
maybe it was just a day off
or something.
I mean, look, we say that, you shouldn't have. I mean, we still won, so it's crazy to complain about things in games that we win. But him, 20 games played, 250. Abreu at 280, who has been pretty good. McGuire, 255, 17 games, and Pablo Reyes, 174. O'Neal's hurt. Dahlbeck sucks. Wong's hitting 319, but only played 14. Devers, 188, and has only played 13. David Hamilton, 182. I mean, like, we need those big bats back. We really do. Or maybe, I think we were talking about this. I don't know if it was on the podcast or just on the phone, but it might be time for Marcel Mayo.
Yep. Yeah, we were just, I was going to bring that up too. I mean, is it, time for him to start to make that move up. You were just throwing out his stats.
Oh, let me pull him up here. Yeah,
and he was at the time when we talked last week and talking about we start the Marcelo talk here on the pod. Do we bring him up? And he was over 300 at that point.
Yeah, he's 314 right now, 333 OBP, 451 slugging, 13 strikeouts, 23 total bases, 16 hits. He's got a homer, 7 ribbies, 2 walks. He's only had one game in which he hasn't had a hit, and that was on Saturday. But every other game this year, he's had a hit and got on base once, has at least more than 2 total bases in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games so far out of, 12? I mean, look, if Rafaela, and I love him, and I know we did just give him the extension, and obviously we're not going to move him down or anything like that. That's not what I'm asking for. I think he would be better in the outfield. You put Yoshida at DH and then don't have to worry about him playing or anything. But I mean, dude, we've had this revolving door of weird shortstop fucking rotations and shit all year. And I think Mayer coming in there, we're hitting like this, he's great. But I remember as a prospect, he was always it's big upon his defensive ability too. If you get a little more consistency there, like, then you don't have to worry so much about when you don't have your Devers or O'Neills or Cassises in because they're hurt throughout the year.
Exactly. Right now, I think by bringing him up and solidifying that shortstop position, Rafaela, pure athlete, but he's made a lot of errors in at shortstop. Bring him back in the center, which he's made for, and can solidify an outfield. And now with some injury, I mean, end up putting Abreu at first, for how long, who knows how long Cassis is out, because I don't think you're taking out your guy, Rob Snyder. Yeah, I don't think you're. I don't.
No,
and
I
then
think
O'Neill comes back, and with O'Neill back,
and he could play outfield, or you don't, and then that's when, if Yoshida is going to have something nagging, then you got Duran, Ref Snyder, and Rafaela out in the outfield, and you can switch between O'Neill and Yoshida at DH days and not worry about some weird play like what happened last week with O'Neill colliding with a third baseman, and then you lose your power hitter for another week or 10-day IL or something. You mentioned the errors when it comes to Rafaela. I'm not looking at his fielding stats here right now, but after yesterday, Red Sox improved to 10-2 when they do not commit an error. We also have 23 unearned runs allowed so far in the season.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
Our fielding, and I think they were mentioning, I mean, the amount of errors that we've had so far is not leading the MLB, which is kind of sad because that first series with Oakland, they were just making stupid errors. But if we have caught them or been or right next to them with our fielding, that's a problem. I mean, I was looking again at the pitching. We've had 210 innings pitched with 214 strikeouts and only 59 walks.
No, we are leading the league at 21.
Yeah.
Yankees with 19, Oakland with 18. Yeah, that just can't happen. A fielding percentage of .975, which is last in the league. Yep, would make sense with the most errors. I mean, that's just you gotta fucking figure that out. You gotta get that together.
I mean, our guys are probably top within the top 5 in the league in strikeouts, but yet when they're putting the ball in play, we're not fielding it. If we were fielding and we could have cut those errors off, we would probably have 2 to 3 more wins, not 4 more wins.
I mean, we have 2 guys within the top 7 of ERA that qualify. You got Bello down here at 0.3 or 304. I know Pavetta was at like a 0.88 before he went out. I think really the only one that I was just looking at the team stats, if I can get back to that. Pitching stat leaders. Hauk 135, Bello 3.04, Winkowski 4.20, Whitlock at a 1.96, Pavetta 0.892 or 0.82. Where'd I get that 9 from? Yeah, the starters are really they're just putting us on their back, and I love it, and I hope that it can continue. But you got to be able to pick it up elsewhere, because you think about it, like, there's always positive and negative regression. You play 162 games. We're not going to get a gem out of Cutter Crawford or Tanner Houck every single time. They're going to have some games where they get blown up. It's bound to happen. It happens to every pitcher. It's going to happen to Garrett Cole. It's going to happen to fucking me if I go out there. So, we got to make sure, one, we're not making those defensive errors for when they do get blown up, and he's getting batted all around the field. And you got to make sure that offensively we're not hitting .189 as a team, so that you can at least rely on that side of the ball. That even if he gets blown up and it's 4 runs in the first inning or 2, and you pass it over to the bullpen, and they can just kind of keep a steady game for the rest, you're still going to need to put up 5 to win that game.
Yeah. And without our big bats, I don't see us able to put up 5.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, so we'll look ahead here. So we're off today. Good thing, so that all the Boston fans can watch the Bruins here. We got Guardians. We're in Cleveland tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday. Come back home against the Cubs Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then we have next Monday off before we start another series, but we'll talk about that one next week. So 3 games against the Guardians, who just beat us 3-1. 3 games against the Cubs at home. What's your prediction this week?
I'm gonna flip it. I'm gonna say 3-4.
We play 6 games. 3 and 4 and 7.
3. Again, I've had a gin. Gin and a half. We'll go. Well, then we'll do a split.
You go 3-3. I could see that. I think. I don't know. I'm just gonna say this to keep the expectations low. I'll go 2-4, but really that's because of the fact that that 3-7 at Fenway really scares me. If we can turn it around, if we can take 2 out of 3 against the Cubs, probably 3-3. Yeah, you go 1-2 against the Guardians here, or if you steal one at home tomorrow. I mean, we've seen this team. We saw them last week, and didn't play great when we played them, except for that complete game shutout by Houck there in the 2-0 game. And then, oh my God, that 5-4, or no, I think it was the 10-7. I think that's the one that went to extras, and we just had a complete mess at the end of the game. So you could take 2 out of 3 from them. You just got to clean up the mistakes. I'll go 2-4, temper expectations a little, but like I said, if we can turn around at home, I could see 3-3. I could see 4-2 only, and taking 2 out of 3 from both the Cubs and Guardians, and 4-2 put us up at 17-12. This isn't too bad.
I mean, I would be excited about a 4-2. I think it's a sweep or 3-3. But I can definitely see your 2-4 easily. Unless again, we got to go on Hulk. Then we haven't said who's going in Wednesday's game yet. And then you got Bello, and then Crawford, and Winkowski, and then Hulk again. Then nobody. Starting the following week. So it's going to be a spot starter on Wednesday's game.
I do feel like it's nice, though, outside of maybe Winkowski. Like, you say all those guys, and there's not Like, I'm not like, fuck, we're going to lose that game. Like, all those guys, like I said, maybe outside of Winskowski, I'm like, all right, well, at least we could put up a fight with them on the mound, which is really nice to be able to feel this early in the year. And just hopefully it continues. But, all right. So, Bruins start off here in 12 minutes. So, we'll get into this one a little bit. Game 1, I know you guys were watching it. I know me and Sav were watching it at a bar, and we're having a great time with the absolute ass whooping that we put on Toronto. What were your thoughts on that Game 1? And then we'll get into a little bit of Game 2 stuff here before we start it.
Yeah, so I know that I mentioned probably when we were at the trade deadline who were going to grab second line, whatever. Ended up only getting, we got the defenseman and then Pat Maroon, who I thought, his first game back, putting him on the line with David Pastrnak, and he just looked pretty slow, but definitely putting him on that fourth line to start off the scoring spree. I mean, I think if him going into the corners like he does, that one hit where he put that Maple Leaf into our bench.
That one was all flipped him completely. Oh, that was
right in. Great. I mean, the hitting was unbelievable. Now, watched a little bit of the Panthers Lightning game yesterday too, and they were saying it's playoff hockey. Their hits were up there as well, but it's definitely our style. Loved how we started the first 2 periods. Loved the scoring. We definitely said we got this one in the bag. Started that third period, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah,
because the Maple Leafs were flying.
And they were flying. You talk about like the Lightning and the Panthers. That's also just the brand of hockey that Florida, at least I know, plays, especially once they get into this time of the year. That's why I hated them so fucking much last year. In that comeback, you just fucking guy Sam Reinhart and everything, and he's going to make those hits. They play to be unlikable, and we're playing to be unlikable too. But that's because we really don't like this team. And we put belt to ass when we fucking play this team. We don't care about the Maple Leafs. They're nice season, yeah, cool with Austin Matthews almost getting 70. Don't care. You're coming into Boston. You're playing us again first round. You know how this story goes. DeBrusque with a freaking legacy game. First, I think it was the first one. Absolute snipe. Fucking beautiful stuff. Yep. The one with Zaka got me so hype. I think it was the loudest person in the bar. That was beautiful. And you do all that without Pasta didn't even put one in. He got robbed of one, but he didn't even put one in. And
I mean, how many times did they hit you heard the post ding, ding, ding.
We had one possession or two or three back-to-back possessions where I think 2 out of 3 of them you heard it hit the post.
Yeah.
It was an absolute snipe. I mean, the game was 5-1 and it was out of reach by the end of the second, but this easily could have been an 8-1 absolute slacking, man.
Yeah. Our third and fourth lines, you have to give it up to them. Just setting the tone. Even with, them the intermission and them talking about the changes at the deadline that Toronto did to get bulk and to be able to play either style. And Domi is a fucking asshole.
Yes.
But it was awesome that we didn't retaliate. I mean, he cost them the first goal by going into the penalty box and us scoring on the power play, which hasn't been working for us, and now it is.
And then they had the one where their best fucking player, Austin Matthews, also, and I'm sure part of it was frustration there, got that high sticking, puts him in the box. Yep. We get another one off that. I mean, it was honestly, it was a beautiful game. All 60 minutes. There was I want to be able to come in here and it's the playoffs, so you have to be super critical of your team, and you can't make mistakes, blah, blah, blah. But like I couldn't find a mistake. There wasn't a single time where I was like, why are we doing this? Just looked so comfortable. And it might be the familiarity with the fact that we beat these guys 3 out of 4 times this year, that we always beat them in the playoffs, that they're hated in Boston, that we start off the series at home. They haven't beat us in 3 straight playoff series.
No, they haven't beat us in a playoff series since 1959.
See, that's hilarious. And so it brings me to my next point about, game 2 here starting off in 7 minutes. You mentioned, like I mentioned, Pastrnak. You got to think he comes back out. He puts in at least one today. And I think you're going to get, it was great because we got a lot of offensive production out of not his line, really. Everybody else's. And so if they can continue that, defense was incredible. Do you know who's starting in goal? I'd assume Allmark.
I see it over your shoulder, and Allmark is starting tonight. Yep.
Okay. And then they still have Samsonov in goal again tonight, we put in 5 on him. Well, 4 outside of the empty net. He just looked lost out there. I don't even think we necessarily need to get off to a hot start really to win this game. I think we could even go down 1. I don't want it to happen. Obviously, I want us to put the pedal to the metal from the start of the game again and shove it down their throat. But no, I think you just go out here, you play Bruins hockey, you be physical. You mentioned that hit that Maroon had. That one, you could see after that was a changing point in the game. The momentum, Toronto was playing scared and frustrated, and they were like, God, they are better than us at all facets of this game. They're beating the shit out of us on the boards. They are beating the shit out of us, and our goalie, they really didn't feel like they could win anywhere. And you got to hope for that same energy today, I guess.
I think what's going to happen is obviously Max Domi is going to try and be even more physical. I could see the end of the first, us up 2-0. Hallmark just making some saves. If he starts making saves that we know he can, it's going to get into their heads because Swayman already is in their head, right? He had a 1-something, 1 point something goal against average in all those, and he was 3-0 or now 4-0 against them. If Allmark does it, and we're up 2-0, and Domi can't be physical and taking some stupid penalties. Yeah,
I'm frustrated early. Yeah, I think it's Allmark. That's going to be the biggest thing of this game because he didn't play them in the regular season. It was always Swayman. Allmark did not start a game against them in the regular season. And we do love him, and we do say he is obviously he's a great goalie too. We know that he is the 1B to Swayman, and Swayman has really emerged more this year. And you've got Allmark, who has, his last couple starts allowed some in, and hasn't had a shutout or anything in a while. He's definitely going to let some in. I got probably I think it'll be closer. I don't think it's going to be another smackdown. I'm going to go like 4-3 Bruins, but I don't think it's going to play like a 1-goal game. I think, they get one late and they try to get an empty netter and it just doesn't happen or something. I think we'll be up 4-2 going into the third or at some point in the third. It's funny. You talk about assholes with Domi. Surprising asshole of game 1, Tyler Bertuzzi, who we thought we loved all of last year.
That was our guy. Exactly.
What a fucking dick on Saturday. I did not expect him out of him. I didn't think he even wanted to be in Toronto, let alone hated us as much as it looked like he did on Saturday. Where the hell did that come from?
No, he was trying to. I think he was, again, out of frustration.
Emotional game.
Exactly what you're saying. I have bet tonight the over. I think I got it at 5.5. Again, I think it's a 4-2 win. You say 4-3, but I got it over 5.5. But it's definitely another Bruins game.
I took Bruins money line. I used the DraftKings up 2 boost where if they're up to at any point, it gets paid out automatically. So even if they come around and lose that game, if they're up to at any point, you still win it. I've got alternate over 4.5, which Bruins could clear alone, parlayed with under 2.5 Islanders team total tonight, brings it to plus 100. So that's what I got on it. What you looking at here?
So I'm watching. I guess they're doing.
Look at this. Oh, are you seeing this guy? This
I can't.
This
really
is okay. So at the start of the game, guy comes in with a Maple Leafs jersey. At the end of the game, final, he had put a Blue Jays shirt over the Toronto Maple Leafs jersey to walk out. That's funny.
So I saw the Islanders, who are obviously playing the Hurricanes here, and the Islanders goalie. I guess there's not enough space for him on the visiting bench, so he's standing waiting out to get in.
Really?
So
wait, no, I think that's just how it is, because now that I think of it, when we were at the Bruins Canes game, me and a Bruins fan that was sitting next to me, we were looking for Olmark near the end of the game, because we were getting ready to see the goalie hug. We didn't see him on the bench, and then you see him. He's like outside of the arena, but he's like right there where that door opens up, and that's where he got out. And I was like, I don't know, it might just be something about PNC, and hey, home ice advantage sort of thing. You never know if a goalie hasn't been sitting for the whole game and he gets hurt in the second period, and then you got to throw him in there, and he's been It's just the little things that can make a home ice advantage, and those are huge in the playoffs. But you talk about the Hurricanes and the Islanders. We'll get into our thoughts about the rest of the playoffs that don't consist of the Boston teams in a little bit here. But before we do that, let's switch on over to the other playoffs going right now. We got the Celtics who are coming for blood on this Miami Heat team this series.
Just freaking, and we said it. Now, stupid me, going into the fourth, I went for that 30. I did in game to keep it over 32.5 and over 209 points, and lost.
Yeah. Well, mine, I know I sent this your way. Just give this a quick. Fuck, this one sucked, man. I'll give this a quick read for the listeners here. I had same game parlay, no sweat token on DraftKings. Did it for the whole Celtics game. Had Jason Tatum 20 plus points hit. Derek White over 15 points and assists hit. Boston Celtics over 109.5 alternate total points that hit. I had the Celtics race to 10 points in the first quarter and the second quarter hit. Race to 15 points in the first and second quarter hit. The only thing I missed was good old Drew Holiday for 20 points, rebounds, or assists. Ended at 16. He was 3.5 away. It was a plus 900 8-pick parlay. That one hurt a little bit. I was ready to give up on it going into the fourth because I was like, we're up so much, no way we play the starters. But I love Joe Mazzulla with 7.5 minutes left in that fourth quarter. He said, no, fuck this team, man. Throw the starters back in there. Let's get it. And look, I won't lie. The starters haven't played until the last minute of the fourth in a while. I mean, it had been 10 days since the starters had played yesterday. But even before that, I mean, we were kind of pulling them at the end of some of those games later on in the year. So they were talking about it on the commentary of the game where they think Joe Mazzulla is doing this because he's trying to get them back into that playoff mentality that the starters are probably going to need to play those crunch minutes and get it together and limit those mistakes. They were making a couple turnovers, offensive fouls on Jason Tatum, missed shots, forced shots at the end. It was getting a little scary. I think the Heat brought it down to like 15 points. Then you take a timeout, you come back out there, Derek White drains a 3, Jason Tatum drains a 3, and then you're back up to 21 points. There was really no point in that game where I was worried, and I don't want to hear shit from any freaking Heat fan. Oh, if we had Butler, it'd be different. If we had playoff Jimmy, no, not this year, man. This one is the most. And granted, there will be a lot of emotion we do end up making the finals, because it is the finals. But if you want to talk about one of the earlier series that is so emotionally driven and just hatred out of this team, it's this one against the Heat. There was actually a video where they had him mic'd up. You remember that hard foul that Tatum had at the end of the game where he like fell over Caleb Martin? So a little before that, he had went to go foul Jamie Jacquez Jr. or something. It was stupid foul, whatever. We're up like 25 points. Jacquez looks at Tatum. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing that for?" Tatum literally looked back at him. He's like, "What, are you going to fucking cry?" And then Tatum has that foul over Caleb Martin, gets right up, walks over, wasn't even phased, didn't give a shit. Jaylen Brown goes over.
Ball. Yeah, grab the freaking ball from the ref, like, let's go. I want the free throws.
I'm done.
Let's go.
Yeah. Jaylen Brown walks over to Caleb Martin, letting him know that it wasn't okay. Caleb Martin was talking his shit. He was just like, I can't even remember what he was saying necessarily, but he was talking shit to Jaylen, something about like, "Oh, you're not built like that, blah, blah, blah." And Jaylen at a certain point was like, "What the fuck are you talking about, buddy? You're down 20. Like, shut the fuck up." These guys do not like this team this year, and I am here for every single second of it.
The cool thing is, too, we shortened the bench. Only 8 players played.
Yeah. Which wasn't bad. I mean, if you saw, I think it was in the second or third quarter, that man, Sam Hauser, came in there and drained like 4 straight threes, and we drew up perfect plays for him. He was so open, draining them. And there was one, I think it was a Hauser 3. So they go down corner, Hauser 3, come back. Miami misses a shot. We get the rebound, go back. It's Tatum, drives in, passes it out to Sam Hauser, right up top of the key, drains that one, just absolute through the net. I don't even think it hit the net. That's how perfect it was. And you see, I think it was Caleb Martin or it was DeLon Wright, fucking throws his hands up like, what the hell are we supposed to do against this team? They were so mentally defeated by halftime. We could have, and we kind of did in the fourth quarter, play that game on cruise control. 31-14 in the third quarter. You can tell they were defeated by halftime, and they're just throwing up their hands like, how the hell are we supposed to stop this? This series is going to be great. Jason Tatum with his first ever playoff career triple-double, by the way.
Exactly, and Sam Hauser, 14 minutes and 12 points.
Yeah, absolutely great.
14 minutes.
And Peyton Pritchard, I don't realize, 8 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, just stuff in the stat sheet. With only 8 points, we say only 8, we won the game by 20, but it felt like he was doing almost so much more, honestly. I felt like he was just everywhere he needed to be, making huge shots. He is such a spark off the bench. This team is rolling, and I think this is just going to be more of the same the whole rest of the series.
Oh, I know that we said going into, and I heard a little bit, somebody had mentioned, well, Miami's played 3 games or 2 games coming in, all that shit. But I think coming into tomorrow night's game,
Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday's game, it will be another double-digit win, easy for us.
Yeah.
I don't see. You're right. Miami is just really beat by us mentally. Physically, they can't. Mentally, we've got them.
Yeah, and just skill-wise, athletically, we're just better on all 5 positions.
Jaylen only scored 17 points. I think Kristaps Porzingis is having the fucking time of his life right now.
Oh my god, did you see that step back fucking dirty 3 that he oh my god. I got so hyped for that one.
He's absolutely and Derek White. There was that 3-point. I saw one 3-point that Derek White hit, and he was just like, put his hands up like, yep, you can't stop us. I can just hit a 3-pointer whenever I want.
And when they get rolling like that and the team just starts clicking, when they really feel, and it looked like it for 36 out of the 48 minutes of that game, it really looked as if, probably 40 minutes, honestly, a little into the fourth too. that everybody on the Celtics, when they were on the floor, they knew, they were like, they can't stop us. I can do whatever I want with this team. I'm just playing with my food. Like, honestly. And when they get rolling like that, like this team's scary. I'll let this transition us into our kind of rest of playoff predictions. I don't think there's much to be said here. This is a 4-0 sweep. I literally
sweep.
Yeah.
I thought it would be. I thought Miami could get one at some point, but no. No. They are just absolutely defeated.
Yeah. So let me look at the rest of the NBA playoffs there. I'll be honest, I haven't watched as much of the other teams. I watched Clippers Mavs yesterday. But here, so we've got what's tonight? Magic and Cavs just started. Cleveland's up 1-0. I really hope Magic come back around and make this a series and keep it close. But I probably got the Cavs in 6.
Yeah, I think the Magic, as much as we were worried that that's the one team that can physically potentially give us some problems, they're
especially on our side of the bracket. Yeah.
On our side, yeah. They're still too young. And there's that golden rule in the NBA that if you're too young, you got to take your lumps, and you might have a great regular season, but until you roll a couple playoff victories in and all, you're not going to be there. So, but I agree. Yeah, I hope the Magic can put it at least to 6 games, 5-6 games.
But you got the Cavs then in 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cavs in 6.
Next one starting at 7:30 today. 76ers Knicks. This was a good first game. I did see some of this one because this was right before the Bruins game on Saturday. I think this could end up going 7.
I would think it's going to go
76ers
7 as well.
76ers need to get it today, though. I think if the Knicks win it today, if they take both at home, I think Knicks in 6. But if the 76ers can steal one tonight, I think it goes 7. I think I'll ultimately give it to the Knicks, though. I think just defensively, they've been playing better basketball. They've been without Julius Randle for long enough now at this point, seeing how he's been out for the season. Jalen Brunson's turned into a superstar. Those sort of guards, those superstar guards, you need one of those come playoff time in a game 7. I think he would go crazy. So I got Knicks in 7 there. What about you?
No, I agree. But I don't think the 76ers steal. I think it's the home team wins on their court, and it does go to 7.
Okay. Last one of tonight, Lakers Nuggets, Denver up 1-0. Darvin Ham supposedly is saying that he's got some secret adjustments that are going to be made, and we'll see how that comes out to play tonight in Denver. I think, usually I'd probably go Nuggets here. But then it's hard to root against or bet against like a LeBron James in the playoffs. Ultimately, I don't know if the Lakers could pull this out, but I don't think it's going any less than 6. I'll take Nuggets in 6 or 7.
I was going to say it's going to be 5. It'll be the Nuggets in 5. Anthony Davis is going to get injured at some point, and that will be it.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be 5.
All right.
5. It's Nuggets in 5.
Tomorrow, Suns, Timberwolves. Timberwolves up 1-0. This one, I think, they got a pretty good roster there in Phoenix. I think this is low-key just a mismatch of a series. I think a lot of people think that this can go 6 or 7. Anthony Edwards is him. He's fucking incredible, and he has taken it upon himself to put on a show this series playing against Kevin Durant, who is his all-time favorite player ever in basketball. I got the Timberwolves in 5 here. I just think that they're going to come out swinging, and he's just going to have an incredible series.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, It's got to be Devin Booker has got to show up and do something. It's not Durant. I 5. Yeah, I agree in 5. I would be happy to see 6, but Timberwolves at least in 5.
We also got Pacers Bucks tomorrow. Milwaukee is up 1-0. I really thought if the Pacers could have came out here game 1 and won it, maybe not won it potentially, but Tyrese Halliburton looked fucking miserable. He looked terrible out there. And you really need him to try to keep up with this Bucks team. I'll go Bucks in 5, honestly. I think Tyrese Halliburton, ever since his injury midway through the season, has not looked like the same player that he was to start the year. And if he's not picking it up now, you're running out of time. You're already down 1-0 in the series. If you're not correcting it tomorrow night, I mean, they could sweep them, honestly. I'll give them 1 because I think the Pacers could steal one at home. I say steal one at home, but that's how much confidence I have in them that I would think they would be stealing a game on their home court. He's playing terrible. You need your leader. I got Bucks in 5.
Yeah, I'll agree there. But I got more of a lean towards a sweep as well for the Bucks.
Late game tomorrow, Mavs Clippers. Clippers up 1-0 after yesterday's game. Won the game even without Kawhi Leonard and didn't even just win the game. They kind of kicked the shit out of the Mavs. Really tough stuff if you're a Mavs fan, because the game without Kawhi Leonard in LA, you think that you really need to win that game, and you can't, and they still beat you. They were up 20 for most of the game. I had the Clippers winning this series from the start as is. The Kawhi news definitely did worry me a little bit. Hopefully he plays tomorrow, but if not, I mean, we've seen the team can beat them too. I got Clips in 6. I think the Mavs still take some, especially if Kawhi is out again tomorrow. I think hopefully they can game plan better around it and take that one. But I got the Clips still winning this in 6 games.
No, I'm going to flip here. I'm going to see the Mavs in 7. We'll steal 1. Luka will just do Luka stuff. And I'll say the Dallas Mavericks in 7.
Okay. So that's the first one we disagree on. And then we already went Heat Celtics. We said sweeps there. Last one, Pelicans Thunder. Thunder won a great game. I think on Saturday was their first one too. That should be a super fun competitive series. I hope it is. Whereas the Thunder, I do think in the regular season were a lot more talented than the Pelicans. You get to the playoffs, and that Thunder team is really young. I think they'll have a couple games where they make a couple mistakes and throw it away, but ultimately I still think they'll take this series in 7 games.
I was going to say Thunder in 6.
Okay. I mean, they could very well take it in 6. It's just a matter of making sure that I just got the early win bet thing because I had the Phillies went up 2 early on the Reds too. They could go around and lose that game now for all I care. Thank you, DraftKings, for those fucking tokens. Those are great. So we got Thunder, and then that'll bring us back around to the ones that we talked about. So it'll take 2 weeks, I think, until these series are done. But we'll talk about round 2 then in a couple weeks and go through those once we actually have the matchups. All right, NHL playoffs. Let's go look at these really quick. Stanley Cup playoff bracket. All right, Boston, Toronto. We'll start off there.
I think, again, game is, and I'm watching a bunch of hits. I'm looking over your shoulder. We look like we're flying.
We are.
I think Toronto will win one of theirs back home. But we'll be up 3-1 and we'll win it in Toronto. We're not gonna.
I think it'll be in Boston. I think it goes 2-2, 1-1-1. So game 5 will be in Boston. And if game 5's in Boston, yeah. After seeing us on Saturday, I really do think this could be Bruins 4-1. The realist in me wants to say Bruins in 6 to try to give Toronto a little credit, but then also the realist in me is saying, why am I trying to give the Toronto Maple Leafs credit against the Boston Bruins in the playoffs? When is it going to happen? I'll take 5. I think we can close out in Boston. If we get it 3-1 in Boston, I think this team comes in already mentally defeated. And I think we close it out there.
And especially if it is 3-1 coming back to Boston, they're going to try and out physical us. They're not going to play offensive scheme that could try and score. They're going to be physical and just beat them up again. So I think us. They were just
highlighting Pat Maroon. There's Pasternak with a great hit. Maroon just came onto the ice. There comes the line. Panthers Lightning. Panthers up 1-0. I think they won that game 4-2 on
this
Saturday.
So let's tell the listeners. So I had a 3-leg parlay with that boost. So I think I was plus 990 or 900 or whatnot. Already hit the Hurricanes game, already hit the Bruins game. All I needed was the Panthers.
Under 5.5, right?
No. 1.5.
In the third?
And when they scored that empty netter with 2 minutes left, I was like, there we go. There we go. With 8 seconds left, Tampa Bay ended up scoring with 8 seconds left.
Oh, wait. Did you have under 1.5 in the third?
No, I had the Panthers to win by 1.5.
Oh, so it was 4-3 then or something. Oh, or 3-2.
They were up 3-1. They were up 3-1.
Oh, yeah.
Tampa Bay scored with 8 seconds remaining. Have me lose.
That is tough as shit, man.
That's a bad beat. That's a
terrible beat. But for the series, what do you have here?
Panthers again in 5. I don't think Tampa Bay has anything right now. I think them too looks very much defeated. They do look defeated. I mean, the score being 3-2 was a lot closer than what the game really was.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think Tampa does look a little defeated already. However, I think I said going into this, I didn't want to play Tampa. I think that they have the makeup of a team that can make a playoff run. You only lose one. And this Florida team is very tough. I said Tampa in 7 going into these playoffs. And honestly, I think I'm still going to stick to it. But this could come around to bite me in the ass, and it could be Panthers in 5, like you're saying. And I don't know, part of me might just be saying Tampa in 7 because I really, 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 really dislike the Florida Panthers and want to see them lose first round. And I definitely don't want to see them in the second round, even though we did sweep them in the regular season. But I'll take Tampa in 7 and hope their season ends early. I don't know. I feel like I'm just being biased there.
Yeah, but I think the difference is that even if we see them in the second round, I know that we're playing a physical game against Toronto, but that's our style. Yes, Florida as well, but I think Tampa Bay is at least bringing the same level of physicality, which Toronto can't against us. So you're going to sit there, and even if it is 5 games, and we too are 5-game winners into the next series, Florida is going to be a little bit more beaten up.
Good point. Makes sense. All right, we'll move down this list in the East. Rangers, Caps. Rangers won that one. They're up 1-0. I don't think we need to talk about this one too much. I I had been on board with saying the Capitals should not have even fucking made the playoffs for the last 3 weeks. I think this team sucks.
Right.
I think they are no fun to watch. I think the NHL legitimately should have stepped in and rigged something in order to keep these Washington Capitals out of the playoff. This team's fucking bogus. They're gonna get swept. It doesn't make it fun. I really wish the Rangers had a little bit more of a challenge in the first round. Give them the Penguins or the Red Wings, who would have had a little more of a fun story at the end of the year to make the playoffs. Capitals are old. The Capitals stink. They're going to get rolled here.
Yeah. 4-0. Exactly.
Carolina and Islanders, they also play tonight. They're starting in 7 minutes. Carolina up 1-0. I think even Reese tried to be nice and say, I think Canes in 6. I told him from the start, I think Canes in 5. After game 1, I could say Canes in 4. I feel like Islanders will probably steal one. Canes look great. Islanders don't look like they should be in the playoffs either. Why don't we just go ahead and switch those two teams? Let's get the Red Wings and the Penguins in for the Caps and the Islanders now, and then see if they can turn those series around. I think that would be a lot more fun. But I'll still take Canes in 5.
Yeah, 5. I agree with you. It could be a sweep as well. This could be, besides the Rangers, the only other sweep. Anderson looked, coming off
Phenomenal.
of his injury and coming back, and he's just on a roll. And when you have a goalie on a roll like that, the best part about our goalie is we have two. We have a tandem. You're gonna have to sit back for all these teams. Have your one goalie be on that roll, and we're going to be fresh in that. So, but Hurricanes. I'll say Hurricanes sweep as well.
You mentioned Anderson and his injury. I think ever since his injury, I saw a stat. I think he's averaging it's like 1.8 goals per game or something. Ever since he's been locked down. We'll move over to the West. Dallas and Vegas start off their series tonight. There hasn't been a game there. This should be a great series. I have a future bet on the Dallas Stars to win the Stanley Cup, along with the Bruins, the Canes, the Kings, and the Jets. So I'm going to ride with my future bet here. I'm going to take Dallas in 6. I think this is going to be a really defensive, physical series, really game plan based. We're going to see a lot. I feel like I saw way too many people on the over tonight, the over 5.5. I think we're going to see a lot of 2-1, 3-1 games in this series, with empty netters to give that last one. But I'm going to take Dallas in 6.
You can't though, put down the reigning Stanley Cup champs, the Golden Knights. If they can steal one in Dallas, watch out, because now I think they can win easily all their games. But I'll say Dallas in 7.
All right. Either way, I think that's going to be an incredible series. It might be.
That'll be the best series, probably.
I was going to say that'll be the best one outside of
the best first round series.
Well, I don't know. It's either that one or this next one, Jets Avs or Oilers Kings. I think all 3 of those on the West could be great ones. But Jets Avs, this one, like I said, I got a future riding on the Jets. I believe in the Jets to win this series, but it's going to be fucking tough. It's going 7 regardless of who wins this. It was 7-6 in game 1. The sports books absolutely botched it by putting that over, or putting that total at 5.5. They probably lost so much fucking money the other day. I don't think we're ever going to get that total at 5.5 the rest of the playoffs. I think it was already at 6 this morning, 6.5 or something like that. But I'm going to take Jets in 7.
As much as I agree with the fact that it is 7, and obviously, if the Canucks can't do it for, which I think they will be able to, and I know I'm jumping the gun, but you need a Canadian team. We already put out Toronto; they're not going to do it. Canada still needs needs a representation into these finals, but I think the Avalanche will find a way. I'm saying Avalanche in 7.
Okay. Well, then moving on to the Canucks. This side of the bracket has potential for a guaranteed Canadian team in that side of the Western Conference Final. We got Canucks, Predators. This sucks because I really like the Preds. I really do. I think they're a fun team.
I do too.
I would love to say any other of these teams in the first round. I think they could push it 6 or 7. But the Canucks are really good, man. The Canucks are a really good team. I feel like they should have ended up getting that number 1 overall. But I think they win this in probably 5. And they're just going to, I think they just flex.
I agree with you. I was thinking 5 right away. Nashville will take 1 at home, and that's it.
And then what could potentially be the best first round series. Also, the Oilers and the Kings, they start off game 1 tonight. I think they play at like 10. I'm still going to ride with all the teams that I have my futures on because I made those with looking at these first round matchups. The Kings are a weird team though, man. They can beat you, but it's gonna be ugly. Like it is weird how they win games.
They're gonna grind it out. Yep.
They're gonna grind it out. And the thing about the Oilers, yes, they could put up 7 or 9 on you, and they are gonna rely on their offense. Their defense and their goalie isn't the greatest thing. They'll let up some goals too. And if you get into one of these games, I don't know, but we're on the power play.
Yep.
If you get into one of these games against like the King and you got to play him 7 in one of these weird, gritty, grind him out games, that's where I think the Oilers are going to end up making mistakes. I know you got the best player on the planet, but it is a team game once you get into these playoffs. I got Kings in 7 here.
I love Edmonton. I love, just a bunch of their lines and their scoring. I would say this is going to be the Oilers in 7. We're going to have probably 2 to 3 overtime games.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome to see. I wouldn't mind it. I think the Oilers and the Canucks there could make a really fun second round matchup. I am saying that. Oh, goal. Here we go.
Yep.
Who was this? Let's fucking go. It was McCabe that was in the power play, or that was in the box. I don't know if that was Marchand, but he was out there celebrating. Now, who is this? Geeky. There we go, baby.
There we go.
God, have a fucking series, kid. Look at this.
1-0.
DeBrusque passes it out. Who's this? McAvoy up top. Over to... down to DeBrusque. Back to DeBrusque. Looks like Coyle's just in the middle here. Over to Geeky. Or no. Who was this? I don't even know who that was, but Geeky across... What an absolute pass. That's great. Starting off the game 1-0. We love to see that.
And that's the other thing. We're having 2 power play lines because we've switched it around and moved them around. Brusque is showing off, man.
Just absolutely showing off. All right. Well.
Oh, wait a minute.
When they just scored. Yep. Well, shit. That was fucking quick. Yeah, look at them have some life. I mean, they need it after game 1. See, this is a little what I was worried about with Olmark is just, riding the emotion. You can't. It was Domi too, that motherfucker. You can't. We just can't let in little ones. What happened here? Oh, just a bad pass. Turns it around. Oh my God! Off his skate or off his pad. Damn. I mean, look, that's not really on Olmark. That's a bad pass. That shouldn't be in front of the net anyways there. Fuck you, Max Domi. Anyways, that's enough of the first round. We won't get into too much of our playoff predictions because we don't want to be predicting teams that end up getting eliminated. So like I said, with the NBA one, we'll dive into that a little deeper probably next week or the week after. Hope you guys are enjoying the live commentary of the game we're getting. This is cool. Maybe we should... I was thinking about doing something like this. If we get a weekend playoff game, is it like we'll play again on Wednesday, Friday, or because we travel? If we play on Saturday, we could do a live podcast during the game. That'd be crazy. All right. So our last segment here before we wrap up. We've been going hour and 10 minutes. Not too bad. Like I said, we gotta touch on all four major sports. We get the ability to this week with the NFL draft starting up on Thursday. Our Patriots, as of right now, still are slotted in for that number 3 pick. So I want to go through real quick, and I'll start off with you. Give me kind of your dream scenario. If in a perfect world, if you could have the perfect draft that you want, what do you want the Patriots to take out of Thursday, Friday, and Saturday?
This is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. Listen to me now. Minnesota is, so I was listening earlier today. I think it was WEEI. They had Matt Reese on and talking. Some guy, Frank, was one of the guys. Really didn't sound like he knew too much. He had mentioned about what he thought the Raiders having the number 11 pick. Obviously, the Raiders have the 13th pick. Reese was mentioning that normally, and you know how all these draft picks are slotted and you get the value of what other draft picks and player or whatnot. And obviously us with the number 3, not as valued as 1 and 2, does drop off. I saw this someplace, but it's still very valued. And then you really fall off 4 or 5. I think what's going to happen is Minnesota is going to give us 11 and 23 and something else. I know obviously we would love to have offensive weapon, wide receiver. They're not going to give up Justin Jefferson. I think in the end it will be 11 and 23 plus some other draft picks and maybe first next year, whatever, for 3. Them to go up and get Drake May. What then it will occur, Arizona doesn't need a quarterback. The Chargers don't need one. The Giants are going to take J.J. McCarthy at number 6. Tennessee doesn't need a quarterback. Atlanta just paid Kirk Cousins $1 million. And now we sit there at number 9, the Chicago Bears. Following will be the Jets. Now, the Jets really don't need, because you have Aaron Rodgers and you don't want to take a quarterback at the 10th pick and then have Aaron go, oh, boo-hoo, this happened to me with Green Bay, with Jordan Love. I still think possibly the Jets might want to take a future quarterback. We're going to jump them. We're going to trade either number 11, I think us trading 11 and blah, whatever it's going to be.
A third or something.
Yeah, to move up to number 9, and we'll grab Bo Nix at number 9.
Okay.
So then we still have, then 23 to grab Worthy or whatever receiver is falling at that point. Then we still have our early second round as well, and whatever Minnesota else is going to give us.
Okay. And then do you have any plan for like the later rounds, or you really just care what happens in that first? As long as that happens, that's your dream scenario.
That's what I'm just thinking right now, the first. I haven't thought about anything else, but I think after that, I've seen a Blake Corum, which I don't think we really need at this point.
Toronto power play, by the way.
Some other tight ends, tackles we need. But I think what's going to happen is that by us having 23, we're going to be able to get one of those wide receivers. And then we can even double dip, even again, or take that left tackle that we need with our early second round pick.
Okay. I like it. So here's my dream scenario. Any scenario in which J.J. McCarthy does not become a Patriot is my dream scenario. I am going to get very fucking violent and vocal on Twitter Thursday night if at the number 3 pick they announce that the New England Patriots draft J.J. McCarthy. I might jump off a bridge. I don't know. I've been hearing way too much of it this week, and I'm
Yep.
getting so much
Yep.
anxiety of seeing just the
That's
fucking
why you
jersey
couldn't
swap
sleep
and
last
everything.
night.
It might have been. I can't fucking do this for another 3 days, man. I need to know. I need JJ McCarthy to, like, I don't know. Just say you don't want to come to New England. Something. I cannot have him as a Patriots quarterback. My dream scenario. We talked about this since mock draft 1. We also did it in mock draft 2. I think we took Jaden Daniels in mock draft 2. My dream scenario would be Drake May at 3. Like we mentioned since mock draft 1. However, I think since the last week and the whole shenanigans with Jaden Daniels and his agent in Washington about, I don't really think he wants to go there. I think they wanted to take him. But now I don't know if they're going to risk that. And you keep in mind, that's, if you make the wrong pick there, or like if Jaden Daniels legitimately doesn't fucking sign, you set your franchise back years, like 5 years plus. So I'm gonna say in this scenario they take him, or maybe they take JJ at 2, and perfect. He won't even be on the board for us to think about at 3. But Drake May falls to us at 3. At pick 34 in the second round, we take Tyler Guyton, that left tackle out of Oklahoma that we mock drafted as well, if he's still there. If he ends up going earlier in the first, which I've seen in some mock drafts too, to another left tackle needy team, then we go wide receiver here. The Xavier Legette out of South Carolina. I've heard a lot of rumblings on Patriots Twitter that if he is there at 34, we will be taking him. Or a guy like, I don't know, Lad McConkey.
Keon Coleman, I would like.
Keon Coleman, I love too. Keon Coleman is huge. He'd be a great prototypical X receiver for us on the outside. But then we also have number 38 with Tennessee there. So one of the two, I want to be able to grab one of those wide receivers, hopefully. If you can't get Tyler Guyton, you take him at 34. If Guyton's there, you take him. You take the next best available wide receiver at 38. Round 3, this is what could make or break. I wouldn't mind a trade, like you're saying, with Minnesota if it results in us getting Bo Nix. I don't want Michael Penix. I think his injury history and stuff really worries me. If it happens that we trade back with Minnesota and we pick up those 2 first, I like what you're saying. We take Bo Nix at 11 or trade up for it or anything. And then we take a wide receiver at 23, and then we could take Guyton, or we take Guyton at 23 and wide receiver at 34.
And then wide receiver.
Either way,
I think that would probably be better.
In either situation, this 3rd round pick at 68, and maybe the one at 76 overall too, or you take the 3rd and the 4th. You see some of these wide receivers. Keenan Allen just went for a fucking 4th or 5th round pick to the Chicago Bears. You look at guys like, Justin Jefferson, and obviously if he would be on the market, he would take a couple firsts. But these other wide receivers that, the T. Higgins, the Brandon Ayuk, they're not grabbing a first or anything. You're going to get a 3rd or a 4th, and they're going to be happy with that, and they're going to move them. I want pick 68 to be traded in some sort of package for Brandon Ayuk. I do. And at that point, where you were saying we can double dip on wide receivers, in this situation, we don't need to, because we take the one in the 2nd round, and then we get Ayuk for 3rd, 4th, give him a 7th. I don't care. We got a lot of picks. Later on, if the guy falls, I really do like that Max Melton out of Rutgers that we had continued to mock draft over to ourselves as a corner. We love trying to bring in corners every year, regardless of the depth that we have on the roster. So I really like him. If we can try to grab him at some point, I'm seeing here in another mock draft somewhere in the 3rd, Tez Walker out of Carolina. Wouldn't be terrible. I don't think he's going to drop all the way down to us there. I see Kyrie Jackson. We've also mocked him. It's awesome to see where I'm looking through all these mock drafts now, and like, we mocked a lot of these guys and took these guys at our 1st and 2nd mock drafts that we did on this podcast. So, don't say we don't know ball, guys. I like Blake Corum, but I really do think, regardless, I just don't think he's going to fall to us in any spot unless we're going to reach for him in like the 3rd. Because I think we could take him in the 4th like we did, but I don't think he's going to make it past Harbaugh in LA.
Yeah. And right now with Antonio Gibson, we don't need Blake Corum.
Yeah, true. I forget about that. I think we just got to be big on getting the tackle early because we still don't have a starting tackle. Got to get the tackle early within one of those first 3 picks, or if you trade for those 2 first, like you're talking about, in one of those first 4 picks. You got to keep JJ McCarthy off of the Patriots, and then everything outside of that, I think I'll be fine in a dream scenario if we just pick based off our needs. Pick on the best available player, something that, especially getting into the deeper rounds, Belichick always did a great job at identifying and doing. It seems like he would miss at the top of the board, when there's a lot of talent around there. But once you get deep in there, you can find some diamonds in the rough. I would like to do that and just make sure we're picking some stuff, picking some guys that we need to address some certain positions in. But if the first round goes anywhere like how I'm saying, or in your scenario how you're saying, I'm completely fine with either one of those come Thursday night.
Yeah. I think it all depends, and in my scenario, obviously I'm thinking that Jaden Daniels is going at 2. If he is not second, and it happens to be JJ McCarthy, and then you have your choice of Daniels or May, I think we're going to not trade. But I think if Daniels, I think we're a little iffy on May, really. So I think if Daniels is gone, I think the scenario is end up trading that to get picks and potentially players, or at least picks. And I know that Gonzalez was, hyping up trying to get Bo Nix here. I don't know if he's come in for a visit, or I think he came in for a visit. That would be. We've always loved Bo Nix. We've always loved him. So watching over your shoulder. I'm sorry for interrupting, but
you're good.
And the media right now is just playing up this Wayman thing and Olmark.
I know,
because they kept on just showing him sitting on the bench, and then they flashed the 2 of them. Yeah, I hate to say it, but if Olmark does lose this one for us, he is not gonna play again this series.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, maybe one, but you'll see. It's just a matter of if Jim at any point is gonna switch up this strategy to be more of play the hot hand, rather than continue to switch off. Let me throw one last idea at you about the Patriots. Would you entertain Marvin Harrison at 3, and then potentially just see what we could do at the start of the second round with a quarterback? Now, I know everybody's mocking Bo Nix, JJ McCarthy, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Caleb Williams, and Michael Penix all within the first round. However, we look back at very recently, and I think it was the 2020 draft or the 2021 draft with the Kenny Pickett. Dude, there were so many people talking about, Malik Willis might go 3rd overall, and Kenny Pickett's going to go up there top 10, and they were mocking Matt Corral up there in the first round, end of the first. And then we get Kenny Pickett 24th overall, and then the next quarterback taken wasn't until the 3rd round. Do you think you roll the dice, you take the surefire prospect, the best technically, the best prospect in the class at their respective position in Marvin Harrison, and hope to see, hey, maybe all of that talk behind Bo Nix going in the first round was a smokescreen and he falls to us at the start of the second? But in this scenario too, what if he doesn't?
Right.
Then
but yet, so if that's the case, if we grab Marvin Harrison at 3, Arizona doesn't need one, the Chargers don't need one. Now the Giants can take Drake May. Tennessee, nothing. Atlanta, nothing. Chicago just grabbed somebody. You look at the Jets. Jets aren't going to need one. Minnesota will need a quarterback. Does Minnesota take J.G. McCarthy? And he's gone. The thing then goes Denver and the Las Vegas Raiders, they're going to need a quarterback.
Yeah, but it's just a matter of, do they take him? Or do you look at a guy that, like a Dallas Turner or somebody else that's there, Cooper DeJean, Kool-Aid McKinstry, like one of these guys that is definitely better at their position and definitely rated higher on the big board. And you hope that everybody else is like you remember in draft day with Kevin Costner and how he passes on Bo Callahan, and then he calls up the Jacksonville GM, and they're talking, and the Jacksonville GM's freaking out. He's all like, what do you know? Like, why'd you slip on him? Like, why is everybody passing on him? Blah, blah. And he's like, well, I just think he's a bust. Like, weird shit like that can happen in the draft where, these quarterbacks start falling a little, and some of these guys are like, well, wait a second. I thought that we established that the Raiders were going to take a quarterback. They didn't take a quarterback. Yeah. What's wrong with this prospect? That could happen.
And if they don't, if Denver this is what we would hope, is that one of them falls more in love with Penix Jr. than Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Because still, the Raiders still have their young guy that they took a year or 2 years ago. Maybe they ride him.
We're talking Aiden
because
O'Connell?
At that point, yeah.
Because he wasn't too good this year necessarily.
No, but at 13, if you can't move up, do you take the flyer on Penix Jr.? I think they would take that. My worry is Denver. You're going 12 and 13.
They did just trade for Zach Wilson. Maybe they're going to give him a fucking shot. I don't know. Like, I doubt it. I doubt he's going to be starting, but like, maybe.
Yeah.
But no, I think they'll probably still pick one. You're right.
I mean,
all right.
But if those guys don't take one, or who says maybe they take Slovic or somebody like that, Keenan Slovic. Maybe it's somebody that's not on somebody's top board that they absolutely fall in love with for whatever reason. Ideally, that would be awesome. If we can go Harrison Jr. and then pick Bo Nix up in the second round. That would be fantastic.
That'd be great. I would love that. We gotta hope Bo can make it that far, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see on Thursday. This will be here before we know it. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see, and I just really hope that they don't fuck it up here. Oh, we just scored. Holy shit.
We just scored again. Yep.
Just scored. 7.8 seconds left in the first. Let's go. Who was this? Pasta? I think it was Pasta.
Yeah.
What did I say? Yep. I said he'd be back with one tonight. He's going to be hunting for it. Look at this. Before we end this, all right, he pulls it off the face-off. Pass over to Pasta. Absolute snipe. One-timer right down the middle from Zaka. What a feed. Right over the... Ooh! Hits off the post. Back off the pad of the goalie. Left shoulder. Falls in. Bruins up 2-1 with 7.8 left in the first period. It'll be great. That's a great way to be able to start to stop this, right?
I did say 2 goals. I said 2-0, but I did say we'd have 2.
You did. And that's the end of the first. And with that, we'll end the episode. What a great way to end off our first evening episode that we were able to do live during a playoff game. Listeners, we'll see. We'll talk about hopefully doing one of these for whether it be Bruins or Celtics sometime in this first round, or potentially a couple times through the playoffs. This would be a lot of fun. They might be like way longer. Like it could be like a 3-hour podcast of us just watching the game and reacting. But I think it could be a lot of fun. So we'll talk about that and we'll see what happens there. But regardless, we appreciate you guys listening. Sorry this one came out a little late, but hope that you enjoyed it and we made up for it. We will catch you guys again next week for episode 17, normal time. Huh?
You know what? I really have to think throwing this in, because if there is a game Saturday at some point, be it Bruins. And the Bruins, I'm wondering if they're
Bruins
not going
do
to give
play.
them.
They do play Saturday. They play Saturday at 8.
Or the Celtics, I would say the Celtics, they'd give them a prime time.
Celtics play Saturday at 6.
Yes. I think that's what we have to do, especially since we'll have the first round of our Patriots.
Oh, yeah, we can go. Well, we'll have, that'll be, the last rounds will be going on there too. Don't they start at like, well, they might be finishing up.
Noon. Yeah, they'll probably be finished up. So we'll have the first 2 rounds.
Okay. Yeah, we might do that then. We might be recording this next one live on Saturday. We'll be able to talk through the Patriots draft in almost real time, a day after. And then we'll be able to talk about those games and react to the first half of the Celtics game and maybe the first period of the Bruins game too. That seems like a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Maybe
that does.
Fuck it. Maybe we'll do this one on Twitch. We can do this one live. I can do this one live. Now we're making a bunch of plans. Now you guys are just hearing a brainstorming session. We'll finish this. We'll figure this out off air. Make sure to keep up with the
pretty. So I'm
a little bit.
Pretty.
A little bit. Keep up with the social media accounts. My own at FRYDDY_ on Twitter for any updates, as well as at A New Era Podcast on Instagram, on Twitter, A New Era Podcast on Facebook. If you got any questions, comments, concerns, you can email at us at a new era podcast at gmail.com. And that's all I got. You got anything else to add before we get on out of here?
Oh, I don't. Been doing a lot of promotional work outside, trying to get us some new listeners. So if you are new to the podcast, thank you. Thank you for everyone else that has been listening to us. Getting close to 260 downloads. I know we'll hit it after this episode. And yeah, it'd be great if we can get a live one going.
That would be pretty cool. Well, that'll conclude episode 16 here, guys. Thank you guys for listening to this rather lengthy one. Hope you had a bunch of fun. We'll catch you guys next week or maybe this weekend live for episode 17.
Love you, son.
Love you, Dad.